And then we wanted to scale it way down with control, but experiment on unique ways to bring it closer to the game. And it felt to me like we were getting somewhere, so for Alan Wake 2 then, it felt like the right time to really scale it up. And early on in the project, I remember we had a meeting, and Anssi Määttä, who unfortunately couldn't be here today to talk with you, but he sent his regards, was in the room with our cinematographer, Mikko Riikkonen. And I went to them and I said to them that I want to have a full-length feature film inside this game. And I remember the look in their eyes. They were like panicking and they were like, you are crazy. and then through the process, we kind of found the right balance with Yötön Yö that, okay, we'll do a short film. But yes, very early on, that was part of the plan.
Yeah, and you said you agreed to the short film, and how much of the material you wrote had to be cut?
No, actually, nothing, I would say. We like the first version of the screenplay for Yötön Yö, I wrote it in a very kind of traditional linear fashion, with Aleksi Kesä arriving, meeting Ahti, and kind of the whole thing was in a very, very kind of traditional way, and we were sitting down with Anssi and discussing it, and he was pointing out that he feels that we could be more dreamlike, like a fever dream, and I agreed, and I took the screenplay and did a second draft where I just kind of like splintered the whole chronology in a much more kind of a nightmare type of a way, which we both then agreed that this works much better. But I pretty much think that we shot all the scenes that were in the screenplay. Obviously, in the editing, then we kind of sharpened it and tightened it in places, but mostly this was as planned.
Nice, very nice. And last question for me, and the question from the audience. Your colleagues sent us also like the black and white version of the Nightless Night. Did you consider it to use it like even in game, or?
No, this was something. This was all unseen. Like he loves black and white, and we were discussing it along the way, and he really loved the idea. But we agreed to use the color version in the game, but agreed to create the black and white version. Let's see. Like I'm still hoping that we'll find a home for the black and white version in some way.
Yes. And did you screen the Nightless Light in any of the some festivals or movie theaters?
No, not yet. Well, we had a screening for the whole film crew. Creating all the live action content for the game, because very few of them are actually Remedy employees. So they didn't have a lot of visibility into the process, but we felt that once we were done, we wanted to bring everybody into a movie theater, and we watched all the materials that we had shot for the game, which was a wonderful evening. But beyond that, you really are the first festival to show this outside the game. We are still exploring possibilities of showing this elsewhere as well.
Yeah, so we are very honored that we are first here in Brno.
Oh, it's wonderful that you wanted to do this.
Yeah, thank you again. And let's go to the audience questions. I have the first one. Did you watch or saw the series Sorjonen, and was there some inspiration for Saga from this series?
I wouldn't say that Sorjonen was inspiration for Saga, but Nordic noir for sure. was something that felt close to home, and just the idea that Saga does have from her mother's side, kind of her family has Nordic connections. That felt like a good inspiration, and kind of like half American, half Nordic, felt like, well, us from Finland, like she's very familiar to us, but then we keep on drawing from American popular culture as well. So she is kind of like a fusion of these things. But yeah, like even going to her appearance, like the sweater that she has, the knitted sweater, is very much kind of like what you are used to seeing, say, in Danish Nordic noir series with characters there.
Nice. So not particularly Sorryland, but the whole genre, so to speak. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, next questions. Are there any specific books or movies, shows that inspired for the cultist scenes? For me, I felt certain true detective vibes at the time. Anything that you could recommend? Thanks from BRNO. Hard.
Yeah, like True Detective, the first season of True Detective was definitely a big inspiration for us when it comes to the crime elements and the cult elements in Alan Wake 2. Twin Peaks, obviously, all the David Lynch stuff has been something that I carry with me and want to draw inspiration from, like for a longest time, starting with Alan Wake, the first game. Yeah, I mean, this time around, obviously, we were diving deeper into horror. And Ari Aster films as an example, or things like Witch and Lighthouse, Hereditary, all of these kind of like Midsommar, more modern horror films with a touch of art house in them were a big inspiration as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your response. Next question. Veg brew or espresso?
Espresso. Yes.
Okay. There is a big conference in BRNO called Game Access. Petri Alanko visited it this year. Would you consider making an appearance? Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, I won't rule it out, but it's always a balancing act. There are a lot of opportunities and asks all around the world, but at the same time, work keeps me very busy as well. So we'll see.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Okay. What was the inspiration for Ahti? I think he is a wonderful element in the story, and I would love to see more of him.
Yeah, Ahti to me, like, it's interesting. I mean, obviously he appears in Control for the first time, and to me, there is multiple different inspirations that come from Finland. I mean, I've known Ahtis in plural. These older men who you know have a lot of stories and like to talk and you know joke in a way where you are not always certain if this is a joke or not. That's certainly part of it. It was interesting that the very first time I sat down with Martti Suosalo, who is a very famous Finnish actor, and you know came to portray Ahti, we both were talking about kind of like you know our personal experiences with Ahti, like characters that we you know. Immediately he resonated on that level, and then of course just the idea of how he pronounces like he's very thick Finnish accent, which is kind of we have a Finnish term called rallienglanti, which means racing English, which comes from a lot of the famous Finnish rally drivers who are not really persons who, you know, are highly educated, but they are great at what they do. So the way they express themselves in interviews tends to be with a very thick accent and kind of like a note that is very traditional for Finnish language, but not so much English. And I really wanted to bring that as part of the character. And the funny thing was the Finns in the team were hesitant about Ahti. They were like, isn't he a slightly embarrassing character in some ways? Whereas everybody who had come from abroad and part of the team were really excited, feeling that this is something new. And Ahti was like a lot of love pouring in for Ahti always. So I'm really happy about the character.
Yeah, and we of course are also happy. And I remember the line from Control when Jesse said something like, "Is he Swedish or something?" Yeah. Okay, next question. How has the live action recording process of Remedy changed over the years?
I mean, the big learning with live action during Quantum Break was just a very kind of a fundamental realization that shooting a TV show or shooting a film, how it works, it is a very structured process in the sense that you write the screenplay, you do all the prep, and then you have very strictly set shoot days, and then you edit it. Whereas creating a video game is a very much this kind of a looping process of iteration and iteration. We look at it, we change things, and they are not really compatible. And we were in trouble with Quantum Break with this. But the learning was we just need to do it very late in the production of the game when things have settled on the game side. So that was a big learning. Another thing that we, in a crazy way, wanted to do with Alan Wake 2 was that we wanted to be really traditional with our live action. I mean, we have all the sets in a digital form, so it would have been relatively easy to just do green screen and insert the game backgrounds. But we wanted to go against that and in a very traditional way build the sets in the studio, even to the point where we wanted to use practical special effects as much as possible, like the crazy vortex as an example that you travel through between Saga and Wake in the game. That was created with a slow motion camera on top of a blender with colored liquid poured in, and that's our crazy swirling vortex. And when we were doing these practical effects, we gave them to our game special effects team that used this as a source material for all the supernatural effects in the game, which gave it a very unique feel. And well, it was kind of a crazy approach and very counterintuitive to creating a video game, which is all digital. But really, really happy that we did it.
Yeah, thank you. And tied to that next question, how do live action elements within the virtual environment of a digital game personally impact your emotions or experience? And how does the possibility of live action elements in a game impact your approach to game design, which you, I think, already answered, but your emotions and experience with other FMV or live action elements in video games?
I mean, it became very clear. I mean, when we shoot for cinematics, when we shoot motion capture or performance capture, especially focusing on face, we are asking quite a lot from our actors. because like often we do it piecemeal, that they don't necessarily even have the opposing actor present. Sometimes they are just imagining even the other actors, but certainly all the surroundings. And it's kind of one step removed, and we need to imagine a lot. Whereas when we are in a practical set, you have all of your surroundings around you. You are in costume and in makeup, and you have the other actors to interact with. And it's just the realness of it and the real emotion that comes with that. I don't think that it can really be kind of like replicated. And so that's the joy and that's the strength of traditional live action shoot. And I think that it makes it more real all around.
Yeah, thank you. And back to the Night Last Night as a short movie. What was the experience for you, like writing the screenplay and also be a lead actor? Did you consider that or you didn't care because you have like a lot of how to say it, like complex actions in the film, like all the blood and puking and all the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I loved every second of it. I mean, as an actor, I'm an amateur, and it was a wonderful experience to be able to act with these wonderful, wonderful professional actors who are very welcoming and very supportive in everything. I felt that there was a bit of a dare in the whole thing, that okay, let's go all the way, let's do all of these things as part of it and experience it. So because like I feel that the whole process of being both in live action as an actor but also in motion capture and performance capture was really, really valuable learnings for me also as a writer. Understanding what we are asking from the actors, like I feel that it made me a better writer, and that's the kind of like great value in it. But I enjoy acting a lot. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Nice. And next question. How did the story of Alan Wake 2 change from the vision you had for it when making Alan Wake 1?
I mean, creating Alan Wake 1 was a really long and winding road. And when we were making the first game, the story along the way changed and the gameplay changed. I mean, it's common knowledge that we were attempting to create a free-roaming open world game, but at a certain point then just like gave up and realized that we need to make it more linear. It went through a lot of changes. Alan Wake 2, when we finally got a green light to create it, I feel that I had it quite far created in my mind at that point. And for sure there was a lot of work figuring out the details of the story, but I would say that as a process of creating a story-driven game, I mean, at Remedy, which has been almost a 30-year journey by now, this game by far, what the vision was and what the final game was, are closer to each other than ever before. So that's something that I'm really proud of and happy about it. Though it must be said that we have been trying to create Alan Wake 2 ever since the first one, so ever since 2010. And through those years, there were very different concepts of what Alan Wake 2 could be. But now finally getting to it, like the vision was quite strong in our minds.
Yeah, and I believe in Quantum Break there's like a whole scene of Alan Wake 2, which is nearly identical to some scenes in Alan Wake 2.
There are certain elements and certain echoes there for sure. And how that went is that we had a concept created for Alan Wake 2 at that point, and we tried to pitch it to Microsoft Studios, but at that point they were not interested in doing a sequel, and then we pivoted into creating Quantum Break for them. But all of this thinking for what Alan Wake 2 would have been at that point, I just felt that if this is never happening, I want to do something. And so pretty much with zero budget, and because all of the actors who are present there were actually working in one way or the other with us on Quantum Break behind the scenes, we had them so we created this trailer, as it were, a make-believe trailer. And yes, there are elements there that I kept thinking about FBI coming in, investigating a crime and looking for Alan Wake that is, in a way, in the final game.
Yeah, pretty awesome, pretty awesome. Yeah, so little pitch trailer in Quantum Break for Alan Wake 2.
Yes.
Next question. What is your opinion on fan fictions based on Alan Wake universe? I read stories about fan characters that had own events around Cauldron Lake, and I like that your work inspires others.
Oh, I think that any creator
oh no.
is that it inspires somebody else to create something. I like that. That's by far the greatest compliment you can hope for. You know, you are drawing inspiration from works that inspire you, and if you manage in some way to inspire somebody else to create something, our fans are wonderful and so important, and they create beautiful works. Yeah, I mean it's a compliment, and I'm very thankful.
Yeah, and how important is showing and expressing Finnish culture in Alan Wake 2 to you and your team? I would like extend it to like basically all Remedy games with the Finnish culture.
Yeah, I mean it's been growing in me through the years. Maybe it's like growing older. You start to respect your own culture more. I feel that like now looking back all the way to Max Payne, say, there are elements that come from my experience, like, you know, the first Max Payne happens during a winter storm, and we have plenty of those in Finland. But anyway, I feel maybe more hidden in some ways, and Alan Wake, you know, Pacific Northwest as environment felt closer to Finnish nature. And the idea of light and dark as kind of we have true seasons, the presence of light and presence of darkness is part of the experience. But really I feel Ahti was to me a turning point. That I wanted to create a very Finnish character, and the reception was so positive. Like we even created a tango song for him, and Martti Suosalo is a wonderful singer. He sang the song, and that was a sign to me that, well, now you can just do more. This was received so well, and I've grown to respect my own culture much more along the way. It was much more early on, drawing from American popular culture, and Alan Wake 2 for sure has a ton more Finnish culture than ever before in our games. I don't think it will stop here. because reception has been very overwhelmingly positive, and I'm very grateful of that.
Yeah, so we are looking forward to another batch of Finnish culture in the next games. Next question. As a huge Poets of the Fall fan, what is it like to work with them and see them grow in fame through your games?
I'm very happy about that. But in like we've been able to collaborate for so long. Marco Saaristo is a childhood friend of mine, and we used to play role-playing games together growing up, and when we started working on Max Payne, I mean, obviously, I was drawing all of my friends and relatives in to pose in different roles, and Marco was there to pose as Vladimir Lem, the Russian mobster character in it. And then we started chatting when they were just founding Poets of the Fall. We started chatting about the possibility of creating a custom song for Max Payne 2, which is Late Goodbye, the first single that the band ever made. And to me, it's been just like, it's part of our Remedy universe and part of the mix that to have them. And obviously the big step was in Alan Wake then that they took upon themselves the role of the fictional in-world Old Gods of Asgard band, and now we made more content like that than ever before in Alan Wake 2, so that we have a full album of Old Gods of Asgard songs, and we have the musical and everything. I feel they are very much part of the family and part of Remedy as well.
Nice. So we are looking forward to another Old Gods of Asgard in the next games.
We'll see. I'm looking forward to that as well. Yes, hopefully.
This question is about the live action shows that were announced by Annapurna Interactive. How substantial will be your role in the development, and if we will hear more of Petri Alanko's work in the live action shows?
I'm very happy to be collaborating with them. It's very, very early days. I mean, obviously, we cut the contract with them made very recently. We are just at the very initial steps of talking about possibilities. What can we do? So can't really go into any details at this point. But to us, all through these years, looking for these opportunities, it has always been important that we will be involved in creative fashion and collaborating in order to create something that we feel is representing our world in the right way.
Yeah. So we are looking forward to the future to see what will happen. Yeah, so what will happen. And how much planning goes into key phrases like it's not a lake, it's an ocean and such? Control and Alan Wake is big on chants and the rituals.
Yeah, that is, I feel that is part of writing that I enjoy a lot. And that too has been something that has been growing and evolving in some ways in my writing through the years. But yeah, I feel it's an important part, like this ritualistic idea and kind of added meaning into phrases and words.
Okay. How long did it take to shoot Night Last Night? Here's it in Finnish, but I'm afraid to pronounce it.
Yes, I almost on a dare, like naming it Yötön Yö, which is Night Last Night, kind of very much. I wanted to find a phrase that would be maybe hard for non-Finnish people to say. But it wasn't many days, and like part of the planning I had in my mind when creating it is we need to use some of the sets that we have built in any case. So that, you know, I wanted to write it so that the writer's room, Alan Wake's writer's room, is featured, and that we had built in the studio earlier in the process. So the scenes happening in the writer's room we shot when we had the writer's room, like before anything else in the short film, and then the rest were shot back to back. But it really was something like 3 days or so of shooting beyond the writer's room bit, and maybe an extra one for when we were actually on location, which was the Midsummer dance scene was an actual location, and the sauna was another action, which was, by the way, freezing cold when we were shooting that scene. But that's the movie magic for you.
Okay, nice. And what about all the other scenes in Alan Wake 2? How long did that happen? You said that all the FMV scenes are made pretty late into the development, but what was the process and planning behind like all of those scenes?
Yeah, I mean, like you can see the different sets that we were using. We had built in the studio, we had built the writer's room and Thomas Sane's hotel suite at the same time, and we shot all the writer's room scenes on one go. Then for the hotel suite, we first shot Ilkka Villi as Alan Wake, and we had a stand-in as Thomas Sane, and then we shaved away his beard, and then we shot, had the stand-in on the other side and shot all the Thomas Sane scenes. So it was 1 day for Alan Wake in the hotel and another day as Thomas Sane in the hotel. And it really was according to the location or the set, and then we had the whole talk show build and all the talk show bits, including the musical finale. We shot kind of like over several days in that location.
Did you shave Ilkka prematurely, and you, if it happened like that Ilkka was shaved prematurely, and then you had to wait to grow to?
Yeah, no, luckily no. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, we are nearing the end of our discussion, so I think maybe 2 last questions. What made you incorporate yourself in the game Alan Wake 2 as Alex Casey and as character in Night Test Night? And is it intentionally meta with character of Max Payne?
Well, it was an interesting process in the sense that I feel that Alan Wake, in Alan Wake 1, I was drawing from this kind of a metaphor of Remedy's journey to Alan Wake's journey, in the idea that when we created Max Payne, like it was an instant huge success, and it was our first thing, and then we were struggling moving on, and I wanted to reflect that in the character of Alan Wake, that he had a lot of success with this hard-boiled detective character, these books, but then when he tries to move on, he's in trouble, and that it's the idea never was that Alex Casey is in any way one-to-one with Max Payne, but just an echo of we created Max Payne games, and he has created this kind of hard-boiled detective books, and just to go with that analogy, there were a couple of pages of Alex Casey book in original Alan Wake 1, and since we were in any way working and loving working with the late James McCaffrey, I wanted him to read them and be the voice of Alex Casey back then. But then through all of these years, these things evolving and thinking about it, this idea of Alex Casey as a character appearing kind of came stronger in my mind. And since we had already established that James is the voice, I started thinking that, well, it would be funny on the mental level if I portrayed the character. Obviously, at that point, Max Payne already had 3 actors kind of like his looks, but wanted to bring that in. And so with that idea, it was like, of course, it's going to be this way. And obviously the whole Yötön Yö short film is supposed to be these twisted echoes of the actual characters. So Aleksi Kesä being Alex Casey, you know, echo made total sense.
Nice. Thank you for explaining that. Okay, I said two questions, but this one is not a question. Hi Sam, I wanted to thank you for your work. It's inspired me to pursue writing myself.
That's lovely. Thank you.
And I think the last and most important question: are we all in your story, Sam?
Yes, the answer is firm yes. We've opened these crazy doors to meta storytelling, and here we all are.
Okay, thank you for your time, thank you for all your answers, and we are looking forward to the Lake House DLC and all the other future games from you and from Rebellion. Thank you again, and say goodbye to Sam Lake BRNO. Okay, thank you again, and have a nice rest of the Friday, and thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.